Screen. Denied. And that ball's in the hands of Sainristil. Mikey Sainristil taking it all the way. Touchdown, Michigan.
It is time for today's big interview as we welcome in the man who brought back that interception for the pick six. Michigan defensive back Mike Sainristil, kind enough to join us as he gets ready for the 2024 NFL Draft. Mike, before I look ahead to the draft, I do want to look back to the national championship. It's hard to believe it's been 3 months since that win brought the Natty back to Ann Arbor. How long did the glow last for you guys, or is it still there some 3 months after that win?
I would say, for guys who entered and had to, put their names to the draft, I think we, transitioned pretty quick, shifting our focus to getting ready for the combine and, pre-draft process of training. But it's funny because when I first got back to Michigan, I was upstairs eating with the guys, breakfast. And the first thing I said was like, man, we really just won a national championship. And then Carson Barnhart, one of the linemen, he said back to me, he said, yeah, bro, it still doesn't even feel real.
What was the welcoming committee like? Did you guys kind of feel like conquering heroes, for lack of a better term, when you got back to Ann Arbor? Because I know folks have been waiting a long time for Michigan to bring home another college football national championship.
Yeah, just, people, one in the building, just, happy to see us again. And, our teammates, of course. It's crazy how soon everything changes. 3 months ago, I was playing with those guys. 3 months later, those guys are looking at me like, yo, you're in the NFL now. You know what I mean? And it's kind of a not a weird transition, but in a sense, it's different, I would say.
Hey, there's no better way to go out than to go out on top, and you did that as a national champ. You obviously sealed that win with the late pick of Penix. Are you a guy who likes to go back and kind of watch those clips? And if so, how many times do you think you've seen it?
I've definitely seen it a bunch. I won't willingly just watch it myself. I'll really only watch it if I'm tagged in it. I'll kind of just buzz through it real quick. But I don't, I won't willingly look it up. It's something I'm always remember, of course. If anything, I like more pictures. Just, pictures speak 1,000 words. But that play itself is in history, I believe. So it's cool to know that I'm the one that did that. Yeah, it's just a great feeling.
Your play in the secondary was so solid over the last couple of years. And for those who maybe just caught on to the end of your career, if they didn't know, they'd be blown away to know that you obviously played your first 3 years on the other side of the ball. What allowed you to learn and succeed so quickly, making that switch?
Just, having a receiver background definitely helps me anticipate, while I'm playing, playing defense. I know what type of routes I could get. I know what situations, what type of, play calls offense is like. And then just, being open to the coaching. Coach Klink did a great job of helping me out early on. My teammates, they also showing that they trusted me, helped me, play the way I played. And just every single day being a sponge of the game, wanting to learn more, sitting in defensive staff meetings, learning the playbook, doing all those little things definitely helped me out.
Did you ever get a little bit of a vibe to go up to Coach Moore and say, I still got great ball skills. Why don't you design something specifically for me? Throw me out at receiver once or twice. Why don't you?
Yeah, every week I would say that to him. I said, hey, Coach, let me know what my package is. I'm always here. I definitely still have the receiver tools in my bag. So, if I'm needed to play offense, just let me do it.
Yeah.
It never got used, but I definitely will go up to him often and, just put it in his,
Right. Meanwhile, the defensive staff, by the way, Mike, is telling Coach Moore, no chance. Don't even think about it. If you get that guy hurt on the offensive side of the ball, they're never talking to him again.
Definitely.
All right, so how much better can you get at corner, considering you're relatively inexperienced at the position? Obviously, there's more to learn, but you have those great ball skills. Your speed and agility are second to none, even for guys who are already in the league. Where do you think your ceiling is at corner?
I think that's what excites me the most about myself is, knowing the fact that I've only been playing defense for 2 years, knowing, I could get so much better. I'm gonna continue learning, continue, excelling at the position. But for me, at the end of the day, a football player is always going to be a football player. Technique is important to learn. The fundamentals are important to learn. But when you step on that field, you have to go out there and be a complete football player, regardless of everything it is. What you know just adds value to what you do. But you have to go out there and be a football player, be a playmaker at the end of the day. And for me, I think that's what is the best thing about me is my instincts and how much of a football player I truly am. But it's very exciting to know that my ceiling is very high, and there's so much more potential in what it is I'm doing. So I'm just excited to continue learning and continue getting better at the position.
You listen to what some scouts I know have said about you, and almost invariably they talk about Mike Sainristil's really high football IQ. To you, what does that mean?
Just being a student of the game. I apply myself, and so this past season I was meeting with the defensive staff every morning, learning game plans. So doing things like that is what helps me to get a true understanding of why defenses are called the way they're called, why certain things are schemed up, how they're schemed up. Truly learning the opponent, and then studying my receivers, knowing what they like to do, knowing that certain QBs like to snap the ball at this time on the play clock, knowing what type of keys and indicators I can get. Just learning the game as a whole is what allows my IQ to be as high as it is.
What about emulating other guys? Are there corners in the league who you watch who maybe you try to steal some stuff from? Of course, they always say imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, right?
Yeah. So this past off season, my NFL study tape was Kenny Moore, Mike Hilton, Taron Johnson. Watching guys like that, Trent McDuffie as well. Just watching guys with a similar body frame as myself who play the position. Definitely want to, be able to see what they do and just add it to my game. At the end of the day, I want to be the best at the position I play. So seeing guys who do it at an elite level, day in, day out on the, professional side, just watching them, one day I'll be competing with those guys for, the top nickel spot in the country. So if I can learn as much as I can from the people who play the position I play and just add it to what I do, it only just allows me to play better.
What would you say to any critics out there who believe that your size could potentially be an issue at the next level against some of the bigger receivers?
I'll let them know that, my position is one of the most important positions. Again, football players are football players. It doesn't matter how big they are, how little they are. A guy's going to go out there and play as hard at the end of the day. So don't let my size fool you because I'll still come up and make tackles. I can play in the box and I can play outside corner. So this size means nothing.
Yeah, where does that mentality about the run game come for you? Because typically most corners or guys who like to play coverage, especially at your size, are not guys who really like to get in the box and like to defend the run. You're someone who not only appears to enjoy that, but who really does very well in run coverage as a defensive back. Where did you learn that, and where does that come from?
Just understanding that the chip on my shoulder comes from knowing that offenses, they'll see me out there at the nickel position. They'll motion me to the boundary or start me in the boundary, run a fast motion and run back towards me. And just knowing like, okay, you're going to disrespect me because you think my size is going to, stop how I'm going to, show up in the run game. I'm going to prove you wrong. And that's the mentality I have is I have a chip on my shoulder that people view me as an undersized guy, and I'm just going to show you that this size again means nothing, and I'm going to sacrifice my body for my teammates, and I'm going to go out there and hit you.
When you move into the NFL officially later this month, you'll join your former coach, Jim Harbaugh, who's now in the NFL as well. And that, of course, means that the man we already talked about, Sharon Moore, is now in charge of the Wolverines. What do you think, Coach Moore, year one? Obviously, the expectations are never going to change regardless of whether this is your first head coaching job or not.
Right. For him, it's just going to be, again, those guys to recommit themselves every single day, fall in love with the process every single day. Being back and seeing what they've been doing so far during spring ball, I think they're in a great place. There's definitely some additions I know they're looking to make to, the roster, but those guys are in a great space right now. Everybody's enjoying, Coach Moore being the head coach. Their vibe is really good. They're hungry. They're eager to prove that they are defending champions. And come this fall, we'll see. You know, he has a lot to prove, and I know he has a group of guys who has his back and going to go out there and help him prove what it is that he needs to prove and what they have to prove as a team.
Now, we don't have time for me to get your thoughts on all the former Wolverines who will be chosen in this spring's draft because there was a record, I think, 18 Michigan players sent to the Combine this year. But one of the most talked about was quarterback J.J. McCarthy. You got to see him every day in practice. How do you think his game projects at the next level?
You know, he's another one that his potential is very high, ceiling very high. He's young, which is, you know, very good for him. Um, and you know, just I feel like the offense that he played in definitely limited the talent that he has, but he did what he had to do on our offense. You know, he led us. He won games. That's something that can never be taken away from him. Is the amount of games he was able to win. He's a national championship quarterback. So like, you know, his record, his resume is very good if you ask me. And I know he's going to go out there. He's going to compete, and he wants to prove that he is a top quarterback in this class. So I'm excited to see what he does at the next level.
A phenomenal college career has come to a close for Mike Sainristil, but that just starts the next chapter. Wait to hear his name called later this month at the NFL Draft. Hey, Mike, congrats on an amazing run during your time in Ann Arbor. Good luck later this month when the draft takes place in Detroit. Look forward to seeing you this fall in the NFL.
Sounds good. Thank you. I appreciate you guys for having me on.